Hello, everyone. Welcome to our weekly discussion series that's hosted by the Chaldean Cultural Center in collaboration with U of M Detroit Center, Unique Voices in Films, and CMN TV. I'm your host, Hui Nemu. And today I have two lovely guests who are from Japan. Hiro K has created a YouTube program about ethnic neighborhoods around the world so others can know about our global culture. You can watch him through his work is at the YouTube channel called Ethnic Neighborhoods. He also works for NHK World Japan, an international service of Japan's public media to make TV programs. And then we have Shoko Takahashi, and she's an illustrator and in charge of the illustrations in Hiro K's publication. She is from Japan and has lived in Novi and Dearborn, Michigan. And so I'm going to share how I met you guys through this very interesting book that ended
Right.
up at the Chaldean Cultural Center. And I want to hear the story about this. But before we dive into your connections to the Middle Eastern community, why don't you tell us where you're from so we can learn more about you?
Okay.
Okay.
So start from me. My name is Hiro, and I was born and raised in Tokyo, Japan. Except during the elementary school and during 1993 and 2003, I lived in New York City. That's how I met the ethnic neighborhoods over there, and that's how I'm doing this YouTube channel. And I met Shoko. I met her through friends of friend, but she ended up living in Detroit area. So I was so interested in ethnic neighborhood around there. So I asked her to do some comic illustration for my book. That's how the things happen. Shoko?
And Shoko? Yep.
Okay. I was born in Tokyo and I raised in Japan. No, I raised in Chiba. But I have lived in Dearborn and lived in Novi.
Where are
So-
you currently living?
And now I'm in Aichi
In Japan.
in Japan.
In Japan.
Yeah, that's like
So-
3 hours away. No, like 2 hours away with a bread train from Tokyo. So it's quite far from Shoko and me living right now.
Yeah.
She used to live close to me, but so we always talk with a Facebook or like this. Yeah.
So, Hiro, tell us a little bit about your YouTube channel.
Right. So basically, as I told you, like I used to live in New York City, and I was really familiar with these ethnic neighborhoods because I love food. So I visit all these communities, each in Brooklyn, Queens, Staten Island, even Bronx, and I met so many different immigrants and the immigrants town, visiting those places. So so after I finished working in New York City, I went back to Japan, and for a while, missed so much of these foods, like a real immigrant food back in U.S. And at one point, I thought I think that was 2016. I heard the news about like some immigrants having a problem because of this Trump administration, and some I heard the news in Japan that some Somali people fleeing away from U.S. to Canada in the wintertime. And wow, that's some kind of story over there. And I really want to, and the right now in the whole world, there's so many problem about the immigrants. Even in Japan, there's so many sometimes hate crimes happening, and I really want to um, become friends with the immigrants, and to become like that, I wanted to show what's so good about these people, and I thought that food is a key point to make this happen. So I had an idea of making a YouTube channel to trying to show the ethnic neighborhoods and having fun in there, so people getting familiar with the immigrants, and then people will like about all these situation, and I believe in that there's no hate crimes and that kind of things won't happen. At least it's gonna decrease it, I think. So that's the point that I started to make this YouTube channel, and but I didn't have much money, so I did the crowdfunding in 2017, I think, and I got the $10,000 from the crowdfunding, and visited Minneapolis and Chicago and Dearborn. So, and there I made a story about the Somali people, Mon people, Serbian, Arab people, and I was trying to make a Chaldean community as well. I studied a lot, but like I didn't have enough time to make it. It's only like 2 weeks to two and a half weeks to do that. So I always regret that I didn't study enough to make this story about the Chaldean people. So that's why I asked Shoko when she was visiting there, go visit the Chaldean community and enjoy these places and food and everything, you know. And so that's why this happened. And that the and also when I know about the Chaldean community was through the Arab Museum, Arab National Museum, was it?
Correct.
It's in
Arab
it's in
American National
Dearborn, yeah,
Museum, which is the only
yeah.
Arab museum in the United States.
Right. So the one of the museum person told me there's a interesting museum about the Chaldeans in the different area. Wow, I didn't know that. Like you know, so I did. So that's how why this is happening,
So,
I think.
Hiro, this is so interesting when you just
Mm,
mentioned that
mhm,
you learned about what
mm,
happened in 2016 with
right.
our community.
Mm,
Media is an amazing thing that you were able to witness that, and it was a very, it's what happened was down the street from where I'm at.
okay.
Uh,
Mm,
Down the street, meaning like it was literally in my city where they were rounding up a lot of people who had been here for a long time and
mm.
thinking to deport them. And I ended up covering that story. I literally was.
Oh wow.
The protests were literally a walking distance, but it
Mm,
amazes me that sometimes globally how the world has worked so that
mm,
you are able to do not only did you hear about it, but then it influenced an idea which I'm sure along with other things like your
mm,
love for food.
mm,
I totally believe in everything you're saying. I have
mm,
people who know me, which hopefully one of these days when you come to Michigan I invite them to my home because um, you know I realize the importance of creating food, serving it for people. It's a healthy way for me to create that relationship with the
mm.
person. And then that person sharing that meal in your environment is a healthy, there's such a peaceful interaction that happens.
Yeah.
There's such intimacy in that. So everything you're saying really, really resonates and hits
Mm.
home.
Okay.
So your project, that's why I wanted you to tell us about it, because it's very obvious that it's a lot more than about food, but
Mm,
all the elements that food provides through it. So you shared with us how you guys met. I want to know a little bit about the process of your book. I know, we've all been
mm.
holding, we all have copies of this book that, I don't know how to read the language, but it's not hard to see because I love how you have like a baklava and a
Mm.
stikan
Oh
on the
yeah.
cover.
Mhm.
That's all it took for me to say, oh my gosh, this is a fascinating book. Then going through it, all these amazing pictures of our foods, of our ethnic Iraqi foods. Tell us a little bit about the creative process when you were trying to prepare it. And what did you do? Obviously, there are people that are in the book that you took pictures of. So were these restaurants that you visited? Tell us about the creative process. And Shoko, your also involvement in it.
Yeah.
Okay, so basically I'm doing this YouTube channel, but like after I visited Iraq actually, um I started writing the blog. It's called Note, and over there I wrote about like 10 plates, 10 dishes about these ethnic food. Like, so my first episode is about Iraqi Kurdish cuisine. To know about the Iraqi cuisine in 10 plates. So that's how in the blog I wrote 10 different types of blog, like pacha, or like tashlib, lahmacun, kupa, taba, masguf. So those kind of Iraqi food is in it. So I was keep doing this blog, and like maybe I should make some kind of a book about this, because it's kind of interesting to have it on paperback. I like paper books. So at one point in Japan, there's a place called Bungaku Furima, which is meaning literature flea market. And one of my friends was doing that, and he said, "Why don't you sell a book about these stories? It might gonna sell well." And like so I decided to talk to Shoko, and um, because I cannot draw. I cannot draw, and I'm not good at the layout of the book. But she's good at the design and everything. Um, the reason why I knew that she can do these design was through Facebook. That when she was living in Dearborn, she was writing like some comic strip, and that was really cute, and it was telling lots about the Middle Eastern community. Tell us, Shoko, tell us about. Yeah, so that's a comic book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yes, that's comic books
Can you hold it up
I
again?
made.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a comic
So
book.
when I lived in Dearborn, so I posted my manga about my life in Dearborn. For example, Arabic food. I had Arabic friend, so I made, and Hiro saw them, and he asked me to join like his work. Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit more about that book that you just held up? Yeah, is that
Mm.
This one?
That's a different one, right?
it's a different one, but
Yeah.
so you created a book as well about
Yeah.
and you put your illustrations and your graphics into it, and that's how you met her, Hero, by seeing her. You saw her work, I mean, and then you realized you
Yeah.
guys could work together. So so Shoko, you also then have an interest in this topic outside of just being an illustrator, correct? It seems like you have an interest in this topic.
Yeah, but actually, so I don't know much about like ethnic food or like ethnic like a neighbor foods. Always I learn about it when I read Hero's articles. So and I like when I draw illustrations for his book, I always like study and about it like on internet.
And what I'd like to know, what did the experience do for you guys? What did you end up learning? So outside of the food, regarding the culture with I mean, you even ended up you were in Iraq. I'd like to hear about that experience, Hiro. That what did you see? What's something that you learned about Iraqis? Some of the misconceptions that might be people have. I know when I visited in Iraq in 2000, you know, there's people that Americans have misconceptions about Iraqis, but
Right.
Iraqis had misconceptions as well about Americans, you know, and vice versa. So if you can tell us what influence did this project have on you? And Hiro, you can share that, and then
Okay,
Shoko
sure.
can.
Okay, it might go. The when I visited Iraq on 2019, so it was like after I visited the Dearborn and the well, first I visited the Dearborn and Starting Heights, which is the Arab community and the Chaldean communities are, and even there I had such a cultural experience over there. For example, like I visited the what's the name of the church? Saint Joseph Chaldean Catholic Church. I visited there, and like I actually shoot some of the footages, and I didn't know back then. I didn't know anything about the Chaldean people. So when I went there, first of all, the word is different. I thought it was Arabic, but it looks a little bit different. It's actually Aramaic, right? So that was a big experience, first of all. And there's a Bible that telling three languages: Aramaic, Arabic, and English. And people are listening to different languages, even though it's the same Chaldean people. That was interesting. And also, there was a music was coming at the church, and I thought Chaldean is a Catholic, right? But like I thought the Catholic music is always like the European kind of style, but in there it's a Middle Eastern music. I was so surprised and I was so excited when I hear about that because I'm so into the Middle Eastern culture. From when I was high school, I think I saw the documents, lots of documentary about the Middle Eastern culture, and I visited first my first Middle Eastern country I visited is Turkey and Iran, and that was 1993, no, 4 or 5, something around there. So, and my whole mindset got changed when I visited Iran, and it's such a great country with lots of hospitality. And since then, I was keep going back to Middle Eastern country, and the Iraq is one of the one place that I didn't go. And so 2019, I visited there because I knew about the Chaldean people, and also there's the also Kurdish people and also Assyrian people. There's so many different communities inside the Iraq. That is really something that I cannot imagine for, especially for Japanese, because in Japan, usually only Japanese people living in every cities, but like in Iraq, it's like each city have some kind of a special things going on, like cultures going on, religions are going on, and so I really love Iraq. I mean, there's so many things I can say.
You have somebody here that you left an impression with. Obviously, somebody that's commenting that says that you did come to Iran and they hosted you.
Mhm.
And,
Oh, that's is that my friend?
yeah, and this is really just you're kind of like it's proof that this is what happens when
Mhm.
you connect on this level that you
Mhm.
go to a country, they host you, that you go to another, somebody comes to your country, that's what exchanging through homes and stuff. And
Mhm.
by the way, so even though we never met, but like I said, please contact me, both of you, either one of you guys, when you come, please contact us, and I would love to meet up with you.
Right.
But even when now you're bringing up St. Joseph, I mean, that's our church. This is where I took communion, and
Oh.
here. So I thought, wow, like here's this experience where I didn't even realize we spoke on the phone, but I didn't realize to what extent you connected with the community. So you
Mhm.
put quite an effort to like learn about the Aramaic language that's involved, the Middle Eastern music, and that we still use. Very, very interesting. And Shoko, I know that you ended up visiting the museum, correct? I didn't get to
Yeah.
see you, but Deb, who works with us, met you in person. So please tell us about that experience.
Okay. So to be honest, I didn't know anything about Chaldean people, and so as Hiro said, so the reason I visited Chaldean Cultural Center was like I was asked to go there by Hiro. So and before I visited the museum, I looked up like a Korean history, and I learned like a Korean history and the language, and like a food of the museum. But like I, I actually so I'm kind of no Hiro knows like many things about like a Korean culture, but for
Not
me,
much, but
and not much.
yeah.
But so I didn't know anything about it. So everything like I heard on the guided tour was like like surprising and amazing.
Yeah, so that's what she wrote about this her experience inside
Yeah,
here about the
yeah,
museum, because this is what I wanted to know. So
mm,
Shoko was did it for me to for the book as well. I mean, but um, it's interesting. One of the things that she wrote about is this the one thing that I was interested most is there's a lot of a supermarket manager in Michigan, Chaldeans, and the place I visited in the Starting Heights, it was actually Troy, and this shop was like looks like a regular grocery shop. It says beers or like a grocery. It doesn't say much about the Middle Eastern thing, but uh, this place was introduced from the church, actually, from the person who was in the church. And there's on that corner. There's a interesting shop about the Chaldean people, and like we visited there, but like it says beer. What is this Chaldean grocery shop? And when I get in there, there's a lot of spices, kebabs, which called gas, right, in Iraq, and so this guy who is so it's like a same hospitality that I had in Iran as well. He introduced we just jumped in, but like he showed us around the what's a Chaldean thing and what's the good thing about it. And we had a great time over there. It's a shame that I didn't make into the program, but but the thing I didn't made bring this Shoko to the museum, and we met Ween and doing this program. So
Oh
it
yeah,
actually worked out in a way,
it worked, oh yeah, it worked out.
Yeah,
And you're still young here, so I'm
yeah.
imagining one of these days we'll be able to see you again.
Right,
Now,
right.
I like what your friend is saying here, which this is, when we invited you, I think the uniqueness of everything involved.
Mm-hmm,
He said, that you were very unique, and your approach towards meeting locals and trying their food was something that to this day people talk about. Look at that. I mean, I posted this. This
Stephanie.
is so, but really, this is just so meaningful. I think some things that we neglect are so simple, and rather than lecturing about other places or introducing, even when I give a tour of the museum, one of the things that I often say to people, because we have a section that shows where, like, it's an interactive video, and I say, have you guys ever been to a Chaldean wedding? And
Mhm,
some people have. Some people, I said, if you really want to learn about our culture and our people and who we are, just go to one of our weddings and you'll feel everything. You'll enjoy
right,
the food, the dancing, the
right,
communication,
right.
the interaction. So this kind of interaction, nothing, because it really comes from the heart. And I think this is the thing, that you've planted seeds of peace through this food. Everybody loves food, right? Um, and it's very obvious the effort that has also gone into it. How has it been received? And in your own countries, or the different countries, and also what's your next plan? What are the things that you are working on that you might have not tackled yet, or certain countries or areas that you haven't traveled to? What is your next plan with all of this?
Okay. For my YouTube channel, I'm like last year I visited Istanbul and made I shot we shot a lot of footage over there about the immigrants town in Istanbul, which is really different from the what I experienced in the US. It's a little bit because Istanbul is such an old city, lots of history going on. So there's more deep immigrant history over there. So it's interesting. But simultaneously, there's a lot of refugees from Syria and Afghanistan as well. So and also it's an Islamic country, so have connection with the immigrants from the Islamic countries around the world. So that was whole new experience that I never had before, and that's going to come up soon, I guess. And so I want to make a guidebook about immigrants town in Istanbul as well. And also, I'm still working on the same series of this one, because this is a Middle Eastern uh, issue. But next one, I want to make African issue by end of this year. I already talked to Shoko, but at the she's still like it's like a same situation as a Chaldean. She don't know anything about African food, so I'm gonna bring her to the African food in Japan and trying to make a comic book about that. So that's gonna be interesting, I think. We the microphone, yes.
How do you feel about that, Shoko? Is that part of the fun for you? Is learning as you're going? How do you feel about this new project?
Yeah, it's fun. So I like learning new things. So I'm really looking forward to making African book. And yeah.
So, Shoko, are you do you do other illustrations? Are people, are you looking for projects, or are you kind of full? Can people contact you if they have projects that they're working on?
No. So actually, I'm not like a professional illustrator. So I'm a person who like drawing illustrations and manga. So I like work with like only Hiro. Yeah. So I'm not a professional.
You're so lucky. I think
Yeah.
she loves your project.
Yeah, I'm a lucky guy.
Yeah. That she loves your project, and I don't know about not being professional, but I mean, your work is really great. So but it's very in a certain genre you're saying that you work with, so it's not like that's amazing. So we only have a couple of minutes left.
Right.
I would really like to wrap it up by Hiro, if you can just give us last thoughts, and then Shoko, if you could follow up with that, please.
Oh, so for me. So in the future, I will definitely want to visit the Chaldean Cultural Center and know more about it. And I want to talk with Win in front. And I also want to tell more about these Chaldean people, because in Japan, I think not many people knows about the Chaldeans. And it's actually I'm tweeting several things about the Chaldean sometimes, because in Japan there's a famous game called Fate, or some game that in Japan have a story that connects to the Chaldeans, because the Chaldeans are one of the oldest civilization in the world, the Babylon. So some Japanese game made it as like some kind of symbol as a Chaldean, as some kind of organization in that story. So when that's going to happen, I always write about on the Twitter, there is a Chaldean community in Michigan. You have to know, that kind of thing.
We still exist. We're almost extinct, but not completely. But if you get a chance, Hiro, please share that information. Email it to me later about the game. I'd love to.
Yeah, sure. Okay.
Thanks.
Yeah.
How about you, Shoko? What do you want to share with us? Last words.
So I want to share the most interesting aspect of the museum I discovered. So it was like a Chaldean people cherish their ethnic identity and try to protect their culture in the US. So when I knew that, I felt ashamed of myself because I hadn't cherished my Japanese identity when I lived in the US, even in Japan. So I felt I could keep it without making an effort. So if I didn't visit the museum, I wouldn't realize it. So that was. So this is what I want to share.
That is so beautiful. That is so beautiful. I had a conversation with a colleague. I have to wrap it up within seconds, but I had a conversation about with a colleague that I said, the museum is not about necessarily visiting the museum physically, but it's about the feeling that it gives for us to know our identity and look into our heritage and our culture while we're in the house, while we are traveling everywhere, to know who we are. And I think the more we know about ourselves, the more we can embrace others. So thank you so much for coming on. Thank you for all your work. Like I said, I look forward. I know I'm going to meet both of you guys in person. I look forward to it. Okay. Blessings to everybody. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much.
Very much.